Every brand tells a story. And they are the storytellers. The Sutradhars. They present a brand with band, baja and barat to you. They are the Brandwallahs. He is one of the founding members of one of the fastest growing consumer durables brand in India. Arindam Paul, Chief Business Officer of Atomberg Technologies, an electronics startup focused on developing energy-efficient smart home appliances. Arindam leads marketing, long-term strategy, business development and digital initiatives for Atomberg, which is the pioneer of smart fans which reduce electricity consumption by 65%. He has played a key role in growing Atomberg from ground zero to 100 crore rupees per month revenue company that has also recently ventured into newer categories like smart mixer grinders and smart locks. He is our Brandwallah.
So the Atomberg name comes from the dream that you start off as an atom and then hopefully you build something bigger than like an iceberg.
Wow.
And that's how the name Atomberg.
Fascinating.
Today the consumer is omnichannel. So consumer will browse online, buy offline, look offline, buy online. So I think you need to be present everywhere. I think that's been a fundamental for us. You figure out a consumer problem, you solve that consumer problem with your product, and you communicate the proposition of what the proposition is there, and then most importantly also deliver on the proposition.
Hello and welcome. You're watching the Brandwallahs. I am Krishnakumar and we are in conversation with Mr. Arindam Paul, founding member and chief business officer of Atomberg. Arindam, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on the Brandwallahs. I'm going to begin by asking you the most basic question. You guys sell fans. I mean, it's a product that's sold in the hills in this country. Whoever even thinks of, identifying a particular brand of fan to go to the market to buy, they'll just say, fan laga do. Right? And you've been successfully selling fans for over a decade now. Your revenues have crossed over 1,000 crore rupees. Talk to us, how was this made possible? What was the communication strategy behind these iconic Atomberg ads?
See, when we started around 10 years back, I think one of our biggest insights was fan as a category had not seen any kind of innovation for big decades. For a product which is there in so many homes in India, I think that seemed slightly off. That such a category, everyone uses fans, still the category didn't see much innovation. So we thought we had to do something, and one thing led to the another. We found out what are the consumer gaps. Like they needed good looking fans, they needed energy efficient fans, remote control fans. And what we did was we figured out what the gap was, we solved the problem with the product and just communicated that. I think that's at the core of marketing, right? You figure out a consumer problem, you solve that consumer problem with your product, and you communicate the proposition of what the proposition is there, and then most importantly also deliver on the proposition.
Fair enough. At this I have to stop you and ask you, what was the problem? What was the gap that you identified? I mean, so many fans already exist in the business and people have been buying fans and using fans for...
In fact, the core of Atomberg is solving invisible problems. So this was an invisible problem. So people wanted fans that fit their decor, which no one else was doing. Decors were getting more and more modern, more and more minimalist. You didn't have fans that solved for that. The fans consume a lot of electricity. So say if you go to a tier 2 city, which where say there are power cuts, invariably you will figure out power cut. The moment there's a power cut, you will say switch off one fan, all of you come to a single room so that the inverter battery lasts longer. So you needed energy efficient fans, and fans also consume almost around 25% of electricity bills are because of the 4 fans that are running throughout the day. And And there was an unsolved problem, an invisible problem. People didn't even know that this problem exists. And the third was like when everything was getting smarter in your homes, like why the old regulator? Why can't you have remotes? Why can't you have Alexa control fans, app control fans? So I think these are three. At that point, those are very niche problems. Today, these have become expectations, and now the industry, everyone in the industry would be doing very similar kind of things.
Fascinating, but tell us from there, how did you arrive at the advertisements that have caught people's attention? You advertise in the middle of so many brands, and yet your ads have been clutter-breaking.
So again, you go back to the fundamentals, right? Saying what your proposition is and what the brand stands for. So if you see, our brand line is actually why not. So why not is nothing but questioning the status quo and is there a better way to do things? So why not is the core of the brand, which is also curiosity. So the core of Atomberg is curiosity. All the individuals here that you would find are very curious individuals trying to solve problems for Indian consumers. So you start with that. And then you move to a communication objective. So when you're a newer brand, I think the first thing is you need to educate. You need to tell what, because you're bringing a new product, right, that didn't exist altogether. Most of the consumers are not even problem aware, forget solution aware. So you have to tell them what the problem is, what the solution is, and why you are the best one to solve for it. So you need to educate them. You also need to entertain them. So I think in this era, it's very difficult to get away with boring advertisements. So while we still hear a lot of examples of boring, but those were done 20 years back when there was far less clutter. So today as an advertiser, you are not just competing against other advertisements, you are also competing against every other form of content. So the kind of thing that we are doing today, and advertising will be competing against this for someone's attention. Or the kind of reels that we keep on seeing, mindlessly browsing, right? So you need to educate, you need to entertain, as well as you need to solve the business problem that you are solving, right? And you need to solve that proposition, talk about that proposition and all. So I think that's how we thought about it.
Fans as a product. Sorry, 3 to 1. Arindam, this is a space that has been so far dominated by legacy brands and legacy brands only. I mean, like fans we're talking about, and it's always legacy brands. So that's the reason why people don't think of the brand mostly. They just want to have fan in their house, wherever they want to put it in. But the question here is how you, a startup, a more like a tech startup of a company, in this space that is dominated by legacy brands, how do you make your campaign look different, sound different, and catch people's attention?
So I think there are some fundamentals which we have always used, and these are the best principles, right? So first of all, you need distinctive brand assets. So in all our ads, right from day one, you will see there are 2 characters, Atom and Berg, who are wearing yellow and black. So I think that you don't expect 2 kids in a fan ad, right? So that breaks clutter by default.
Before you go any further, I want to ask, how did that name come about? Atomberg sounds like a German company.
So Atomberg basically, so atom is the smallest unit of matter, right? Okay. And Berg comes from iceberg, which are like, some icebergs are bigger than even mountains. So those are very large structures. Okay. So the Atomberg name comes from the dream that you start off as an atom, and then hopefully you build something bigger than like an iceberg.
Wow.
And that's how the name Atomberg.
Fascinating. What was Harsha Bhogle's reaction when you went to him with the idea that you should be sort of like a brand ambassador for a fan?
He was using our fan. So
wow.
In his farmhouse, he was using our fan. So he knew about the brand and like he loved the product. In fact, a lot of cricketers use our brand.
Like who? Give me some examples.
I think this like DK uses our fan.
Dinesh Karthik.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yashashvi Jaiswal uses our fans.
Okay.
Yeah. So these are there which are in the public domain because they post their photos and we see our fans in their homes.
Oh, fascinating. Oh, some serious celebrity accreditation that you get with this. But also in the sense, talk to us about how you market something like a fan. What is your marketing mix like? You know, how much do you spend, what percentage do you spend on traditional forms of advertising like TV advertisements and newspaper ads, and how much do you spend on digital or online advertising?
So we are a digital first brand, right? So like before even we started TV, we were already doing about 200 crores a year. And I think digital enables you, right? So I think today the consumer is omnichannel. So consumer will browse online, buy offline, look offline, buy online. So I think you need to be present everywhere. I think that's been a fundamental for us. And in the initial days, budgets were also very less. So I think most of the spending happened on things which gives you immediate results. And for us, that was primarily performance marketing, a lot on Meta, a lot on YouTube, and did a lot of retail media at that point. So for us, retail media is basically Amazon and Flipkart. So these are the new age retailers, and whatever ads you spend there, when you go searching for a ceiling fan, you would see our ad. So basically, you're targeting people who are already in market, already looking for the product. So in the first couple of, not couple of years, for the first 5-6 years, we're doing only this. 2021 was when we started TV, and how we started TV was, we're already big in Kerala. So for some reason, our e-com sales went off in Kerala. Then we deep dive, we figured out the communication was really resonating with them, the online communication, the benefits and all those things. So we started with the southern markets, Kerala, TN, Telugu and Kannada. Also because these are media isolatable markets. So you don't need to spend a lot of money. So in the first year, maybe we spent about 7-8 crores and we spent on TV, we got to a good level. Next year onwards, we also started doing a lot of this Big Boss. So we realized that Big Boss Tamil, Big Boss Malayalam, a lot of those work. And did a lot of impact properties in South. For the first couple of years, we were doing only South. And then 2023 onwards, we went like pan-India. Even today, digital would be around 50-60% of our marketing mix. That is primarily like Google, Meta, Amazon, Flipkart, CTV, etc. And the rest would be TV. Among traditional media, primarily it's dominated by TV. We don't do much of print, much of radio.
Or out of home advertising?
Not much. Very tactically near the electrical markets here and there, but not much. It's primarily TV plus CTV plus digital.
Okay, and you're a digital first brand.
We are a digital first brand.
That's why I want to ask you, what is your social media strategy? How do you leverage different social media platforms? Is there a different platform for a different product or a different platform for different needs, or how does it work?
I see many marketeers, many agencies make creatives which at the back of the mind they know that this might get me an award.
Okay.
Whether or not it moves business metrics or not, that's secondary. And as a principle, we don't apply to any awards. I don't believe in doing a lot of syndicated research wherein go to consumers asking 6 months back you purchased this, why did you purchase, and so on and so on. Because at the point of purchase, it's like you see the actual truth of what's there.
It's immediate feedback.
Immediate feedback.
Are primarily a fan maker, but recently you've launched mixers and grinders, and it looks like you won't stop there. So does that mean that the communication strategy will change from fans to mixer grinders to other product categories you're looking to enter?
I think, of course, yes, because the buyer is different, right? And for a new brand...
Because I'm asking this question because as old as the product is fans, I mean nearly as old are mixers and grinders as well.
No. It's, say, what's very clear is you need to build every category. And I think we are still far away saying what does the mother brand look and what. So I think for now what we'll have to do is we have to build out every category. And our thesis is very simple. There are some core tenets of the brand. Why not is very core to us. Curiosity is very core to us. Our distinctive characters are very core to us. Atomberg, the yellow color, the logo and everything. And you will see that consistency everywhere. You go to offline shop, you go to our website, you see any of our ads, that consistency will always be there. So that's a given. But having said that, for every category to build it out. So every category to speak about the benefits, what the features are, what problem is it solving, and how is it better than others. So in mixers, again, the problem that we are solving, invisible problem. Like people were okay with the kind of chutneys they were getting with high speed, which were basically watery chutneys. And the moment you eat a silbatta like chutney, you would say, I want this, I don't want this, right? I don't want the watery
So you're actually recreating the silbatta with a mixer grinder.
Absolutely, absolutely. And multiple other, for example, today our kitchens are very modern, sleek, modular. You also want a modern, sleek, modular looking mixer grinder. You want a compact mixer grinder. So all of those things, so again, you speak about those benefits, you highlight those benefits, and you layer the brand on top of it. I think that's going to be our proposition. You figure out a problem which is not very common, not very obvious, enter the category with a solution which is way better than existing solutions, solve for it for 2 years, 3 years, build out this thing, take it to a sizable scale, and the moment you do it for 4 or 5 categories, we are still in a second category, then I think people will know us as what we want people to know us, which is basically, we want to be the Tesla of Indian home appliances.
Wow, that's quite the ambition, I must say.
And that's been the ambition from 10 years back. It's just that we wanted to do things slowly, one thing at a time, one category at a time, one product at a time.
Then tell us, what according to you is the one thing in advertising and marketing that's overhyped and hence is quite blah?
I think that would be awards. I see many marketeers, many agencies make creatives which at the back of the mind they know this might get me an award. Whether or not it moves business metrics or not, that's secondary. And as a principle, we don't apply to any awards. Yes. We don't, because the moment you do that, that becomes a motivation for team saying, at the moment you start celebrating it, we have gotten this award, Canes, this, that.
So, in cinema, there is commercial cinema and there's art cinema.
Yes.
As far as your ads are concerned, they're always only commercial.
Yes.
They have absolutely no intentions of
they need to entertain
any award
people.
ceremony.
No, they need to entertain people. But that entertainment is validated by how much people are sharing, how much people are watching. We don't need awards to validate it. Business results as well as how much people are sharing, how much people are watching, the view times, those validate it. Think of it more like a media house, saying if you're publishing something, how many people are coming and watching it, how many people are coming and sharing it. When we create any kind of content, shareability is something that we stress like ruthlessly. But that's all. That's all we do. That's like That's
no
one thing.
Awards.
No, I think that's we don't. Yes.
When did you take that call? Saying okay,
long back. I think we keep, because that's a drain of resources. Saying someone putting it all together and all those things. Yeah.
And then host a banquet.
Yes.
Tell people
Yes.
that we made this ad and it's become famous because of an award and all that. Too much shusha, as it's called. Fascinating.
Not sure if I should speak this in a show that's about marketing and ads.
No, in this show you should be talking about this. I'm glad you are.
Yeah.
How do you get Gen Z's attention? I mean, like every marketer, every brand, irrespective of what they're selling, they could be selling anything from cars to insurance. They're all about trying to get Gen Z's attention, who are slowly becoming the main decision makers. And they have short attention spans. And in that sense, it's not just Gen Z. Literally every generation now is a short attention span generation. How do you, capture mind space in these days of short attention spans?
I think it's very easy. You hire people from that generation.
You just hire Gen Z.
Yeah, absolutely. So they understand their generation better than anyone else. You give them the business objectives.
And they understand the previous generations also better.
Yes.
So this is your secret sauce. You just hire Gen Z.
Yes. So if you look at our content team, the average age of our content team will be 23, 24 years.
Wow. What is the one thing about your job that you love the most? The one thing that makes you wake up every morning and get to office? What would be it?
No, I think that would be meeting consumers. Undoubtedly, and meeting consumers at the point of purchase.
Oh.
So what I do is every month I would go to a shop. Also, our fans are sold in 35,000 shops in India today. So luckily a lot of them, because they have helped us from the beginning, especially the ones in Bombay and all. They know us they know me personally for the last 7-8 years. So what I give them a call saying, today I'm coming. I want to come to your shop and let me work as a salesman on your shop. And what I try to do is I try to sell fans to consumers who are walking in. And the kind of insight that I get of why consumers are buying, why they are not buying. And in the end, when they know that I'm from the organization doing this, how they react and all, I think that's really priceless, of course, and that's something that I really enjoy. The second thing is I also do try and do as much as possible after sales service. calls, like saying if whenever possible, go with an engineer, do the after sales, what was the problem, how is the engineer solving it, because consumer centricity again is core to us, and customer experience also is very, very core to us. And these are 2 points which are the points of reality. One is at the point of purchase, and one is if something goes wrong with your fan, what happens after that. So these are 2 points where I interact a lot with consumers. I don't believe in doing a lot of syndicated research wherein go to consumers asking 6 months back you purchased this, why did you purchase, and so on and so. Because at the point of purchase, it's like you see the actual truth of what's there.
It's immediate feedback.
Immediate feedback. And that's how we test a lot of things. For example, when I go to a shop, I'll try and pitch them 3-4 things, and I'll figure out what is working. And the moment I figure out what is working, we come back and we design ads like that, saying that this is the communication that says. For example, maybe a silbatta like chutney is better than saying ki course mode. Course mode people might not understand, but silbatta texture chutney is something that people understand very well. The moment you understand, you figure that out, then you change a lot of your collaterals, a lot of your marketing communication, and so on and so forth.
And that's how marketing drives R&D as for products, isn't it?
Absolutely.
What is the one thing about your job that you don't like, or the one thing about your job that you hate the most? I know hate is a big word. If I were to say one thing that you really don't look forward to in your job.
I think meetings, especially status quo meetings.
You're not the first one to say this, huh?
So I'm a very big believer of doing deep work and doing async work, which saying you do your work, you send it, and then someone has feedback, someone shares. But as the org, because in the org you have a lot of people, and I think meetings are the cost of a large org as the org, because you need to align people, align different stakeholders on different things.
So meetings are the one thing that you don't like.
Yes. If that gets eliminated, I think I'll just have double the time.
But you still have to do meetings. But you still have to do meetings on a daily basis.
Yes. So
you're one of those who likes short, crisp meetings.
Absolutely.
And you also don't like sitting meetings, you do standing meetings?
No.
So just to reduce the duration of the meeting.
No.
How do you think AI or artificial intelligence is, reshaping marketing? Or, because there are many who say that it's much ado about nothing. Everybody's talking AI, and everybody when they talk AI, and whenever we talk about generative AI like ChatGPT and DeepSeek, and but AI is much bigger. How do you think AI is driving marketing, and how is it changing?
No, absolutely. So what AI does is not just for marketing, but for any function, whether it's coding or product design, it gives you leverage. So previously, maybe if you are a good marketeer, you could only do say X. Now with all these tools, you can actually do 10X. And so basically in every function, whether it's coding, whether it's design, whether it's writing, whether it's marketing, a bad marketeer will not become a good marketeer using AI, but a good marketeer who's already knows what he's doing, but limited by time, limited by resources, now they have the leverage to do 10X. And that's going to be game changing, because till today, their time was the constraint. Now their time will no longer be a constraint, and they'll be able to. So I see a lot better brands like getting built much quicker because your marketeers' bandwidth is now released, and if they were able to do X, they will be able to do now 10X with all the Gen AI tools. It's like having 10 brains working for you, and if you can guide the AI on what to do, just very basics of what to do, and you tell them what excellence looks like. You also need to have taste. So AI is not going to replace taste, and AI is not going to replace on what exactly needs to be done, the moment you are able to do that, then that you have the tools, you have the wherewithals which can 10x your productivity, the 10x your productivity of all your best folks, and that's something that we have seen at Atomberg as well.
They say things have changed the most in the last 5 to 10 years than there ever was. I mean, like if you take the history of marketing, the last 5 to 10 years have been transformational in what the role of the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer, is and their contribution to the organization. Tell us how, in your own role in the last decade, how have things changed?
In our case, I think the biggest change has been the org has been scaling up, right? It's very different leading a brand when it's a 50 crore scale, very different when it's a 500 crore scale, very different when it's a 1,000 crore multi-category scale, right? So I think in our case, I think that's been the change. But overall, I think there are two broad things, right? Again, I'll tie back saying that today marketers need to have the omni-channel skill sets. Traditionally, you have always found marketers who have over-indexed on one skill set, right? So they would typically have done some kind of sales offline, then did brand management roles and all, but they would not have much exposure of actually on the growth side of things, right? How to grow brands digitally on e-com, understand very deeply how performance marketing happens. I think that's going to change. So my worldview is in the next 10 years, if you don't have very deep understanding of 4 things, online sales, online marketing, offline marketing, you will not be a CMO in the next 10 years. If you do, and it's not superficial understanding. It's like you should be able to, you should have done the hard yards yourself in each of these 4 functions. Okay. So I think that's the big change in my view which is going to happen, and which we are seeing this. The second thing that is happening is I think sales and marketing will consolidate. So I think other than, and we've already started seeing this in many functions, right? Where in sales, marketing and service, all 3 will consolidate, and you will need a single person to lead the front end, which is the front end of the business basically. And which in our case, we've taken that call long back to consolidate. In fact, right from day one, it's always like that, saying, otherwise we have those conflicts, right? Saying demand is getting generated, is not getting fulfilled. So, and also service plays a very important role in marketing in categories like this. So every good customer, every happy after-sales service customer tells 20 other people, I've had this fabulous experience.
Word of mouth is the best marketing.
Absolutely. And Atomberg, I think the fact that we've been able to build a brand is purely on word of mouth. Everything else came much later. Even today, why you go to Amazon and check our reviews, our mixer grinder is rated 4.6 out of 5,000 plus reviews. Only happens when you have very strong product, and more than product, even stronger service, after-sales service.
All right, we will leave it at that. Arindam, thank you so much for being with us here on the Brandwallahs.